before we get started, we'll just have a short session tonight, just to answer questions, get things back going. Next week, I'm gonna suggest that we move our meeting to Tuesdays because my schedule is going to be starting to travel, and I think it's going to conflict with this particular call on Monday nights. So Tuesdays at 8:30. Does that work for everybody? Or Tuesdays at 8 if it's okay, or 8:30, which is better? 8:30. Is that okay with everybody else? 8:30. Okay, good. That's good, Nick. John, good. Vincent, good. So tomorrow we're gonna go. Not tomorrow, but next Tuesday at 8:30 will be our new time moving forward. Um, So let's just open up the questions. We'll have a quick session here tonight. I just wanted to touch base with you guys and make the change for scheduling, but also talk about anything that you experienced with your covered calls or with the market, any questions you had, we can talk about. Real estate's gonna be the Wednesday at, I believe we said 8:30. Wednesdays at 8:30. Wednesday. Wednesday at 8:30. So this is Tuesday at 8:30. Stock, real estate will be Wednesday at 8:30. That way it won't conflict with any traveling. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry about that. My apologies. I just spoke for 5 minutes to myself. Um, uh, do you recommend selling stocks of a company once profit hits a certain percentage, say 20% or more? That's really tough to say. A lot of people use the uh, PE ratio, price to earnings ratio, to see if it's competitive compared to the rest of the market. So let's say a PE ratio. Does everybody remember PE ratio? Right? Price to earnings ratio. Understand how that works? Everybody remember that? Do you remember price to earnings? Anybody not remember that? Okay, so let's take an example of, let's say that you're in the tech sector. Okay, tech sector. That's an H. Tech sector, and that's a T. Tech sector. Okay, let's say that when you look at the tech sector, the range of stocks runs from a P ratio of 1 to a P ratio of, where it's paying 1% versus, say, the best one's paying 5%. Okay, so the P ratios, paying 1% would be like, um, you know, like Amazon. Amazon's P ratio. If we look that up, it'll be close to 1%, I'm sure. Let's see. P ratio for Amazon is, let's see. Amazon's PE ratio is currently price to earnings 22.29. Oh, sorry, price to earnings 85.83. Earnings per share is 22.29. Price to earnings 85.83. So 84, call it. So your price to earnings is 84. So you got to pay 84 times earnings to equals the stock price. Okay, that's what it means. 84 times earnings, right? So it's earnings per share is 22. The way they got it, right? So $22.29 is what you're getting for a stock that's priced at $1,900. Okay, so if we take the 2020 earnings, let's see, $22.29, so $23, and we divide it by $1,900. You'll get the percentage that it's paying. So what is that paying? So 23 divided by 1900 is paying 1.2%. So say it equals 1.2% is what it's paying. Okay, 1.2%. So that's an Amazon, right? That's an Amazon. So then we look at something like, give me another company. You want to try Apple? So Apple, we can add a company like that. Facebook also. Okay, so let's look at Apple. So Apple's price per earnings is 25.24. So Apple, that's Amazon. So if we look at, share. So we got Amazon, okay, is 1.2%. 0.2%. We have Apple is giving us, looks like that would be around 4%. Okay. Then we got a little less than 4%. Then we got, say, Facebook giving us, let's see, Facebook is price per earnings 33.96, so that's 3%. Okay, that's Facebook. Okay. Let's look at Google. Is everybody following me here, right? So what you're doing is, or what a lot of people do with so Google is, let's see what Google is. Google is 30, so that's 3.3% is Google. Okay, so let's say that you're looking at these companies. So you see the ranges from here to here. You could argue that when a company is, paying, say, 6%, you buy it. And then when it gets into this middle range, say, of 2%, you sell it. Okay, does that make sense? Because the price went up. Because as the price goes up, that's what affects the return, right? So your return goes lower as the price goes up, typically, because they can't keep up with the price to earnings ratio. They can't, right? Price goes up, it's going to go up far faster than they're not going to pay you more as a return. Your return's actually going to go down relative to the stock price. So a lot of people look at the range of companies in that sector and they say, okay, well, the range is between 1 and 6%. So or 1 and say 5%. So if a company's at the higher end, say 5%, I'll buy it and I'll sell it when it gets closer to the other end of the spectrum. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's really, you're trying to. This is more of a value investing kind of play where there was not too long ago, it was a while ago, but not too long ago, Amazon, so Apple and Facebook were somewhere around, let's see, seven. Let's see, about 7%. So Facebook and Amazon, when they got beat up last year, were like at 7% return. So that would have been like a indicator. Oh, okay, let's buy it now. And when it got to say 3% or under 3%, we sell it. That's one approach. I'm not telling you to take that approach. I'm telling you that's the way to go. I'm just giving you an example of how that, how to evaluate it. Now, here's the problem with this, right? A few problems. The biggest problem, I would say, one of the biggest problems, I should say, is, for the PE ratio to go in your favor, up, right? So you want your price to earnings to be higher, well, down, you could say argue down, but what we're really talking about is up in percentage. So your percentage goes from, say, you like to see it at 10%. For it to do that, what does the stock got to do? What's the stock got to do? So if a stock's at $100 per share and it's paying you 3%, $3, how do you get it to get you to 10%? What does the stock have to do? Anybody? What's the stock have to do? Well, actually, it needs to decrease in value. So easiest way to get there, right? So if it's paying you $3 is what it's really paying you in money value, it would have to go down to $30. And now that same $3, you're making 10%. You see what happened? Because this is not going to go up exponentially, For this to produce a 10% return, if this stays in its same ratio, these two ratios, this stock price would go to $300 a share. $300 a share. Does that make sense? So when you see a stock producing a high return, typically it's because the stocks come down. And if a stock's going down rapidly, that should be concerning to us, yes? If we're gonna be buyers of it, if we're gonna be buyers and we're gonna buy and hold, that doesn't mean don't buy it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's tough to argue. It's a good idea to buy something that's losing value because you think it's more valuable. You think the whole market is wrong. Now, could they be wrong? Sure. And in my experience, you're probably going to be around 50-50. 50% of the time you're going to be right, 50% of the time you're going to be wrong. How you manage your trade management could be devastating if you're wrong 50% of the time. And you don't manage that properly because they could be huge losers. Same with winners. You might cut your winners short or let your winners run until they become losses. It's hard to say. The point being is the stuff that they know far exceeds what we know about what's internally or what's really happening with the company. Pier 1 just announced that they're closing half their stores. Who could see that coming? Like last year, it was at like $28, and now it's trading at $5 and change. How do you know that? How in a span of a year, are you a $28 stock and then you're a $5 stock? And now possibly bankruptcy. So it's very difficult to know these things. So and you can do that, John, if you want to try to find bargains or values. I totally understand that. I would say that my preferred trading approach is I don't know what's going to happen. So if I don't know what's going to happen, what kind of trading can I do? If I don't know if it's going to go up or down. That's the kind of trading that really gets me excited, is that the market allows you to trade that way. You don't have to guess if it's going to go up or down. Obviously you're predicting that the market's going to stay in some sort of range. But I think it's extremely difficult. Personally, I think it's extremely difficult to pick direction. You know, Tesla's a great example. Tesla's trading at 440 and change. Um, Less than a year ago, it was 3 months ago, it was like 250. It's gone up $200. Why? One could argue that that their operations in China are happening now, and they've got incentives now from the government, and they can reduce their price, and they're going to sell more cars. But relative to a company like Ford or GM or these other companies, it's unbelievable that these companies that Tesla is where it is, and its relative return is ridiculous if you're looking at it for that value. If you weren't chasing the upside of it. Again, not saying don't trade Tesla. I traded Tesla not for specifically that, you know, because I thought it was going to go up $200. I just knew earnings were coming out, and I played a trade for earnings. So, and it was profitable for me, but it could have been a loser. I mean, you can't say. The point I'm trying to make is, for me, picking direction is tough. And if it's something that you want to do, if you want to pick direction, if that's something that you're focused on and interested in, I think that you definitely have to, like any style, know your trade management, know how to take care of those trades, because when you're wrong, you want to make sure that it doesn't devastate you. When you're right, you don't want to lose that gain either, right? So stocks go up and down, sideways. There's no question. Knowing which way it's going to go is extremely challenging, I think, as a general rule. Any more questions? Anything else you guys wanted to chat about or ask about? I hope that answered your question, John. Uh, Based on the strategy you are teaching, is there anything we have to look at the stock to purchase? You mean the price to earnings? Is that what you mean, Vincent? Is there anything that needs to cover calls looking at it? On anything? Really, I mean, you want to keep it simple. Simple, in my experience, is better. So really, you don't want to overcomplicate it. For entry, you're looking for a stock that runs sideways to up, and you're looking for 30 days with a 40 delta. That's all you really care about. Nothing more complicated than that, and that it's paying you, 2% or more per month, right? For the month. That's what you're looking for. So that's really, really all you need to focus on. You don't really want to do a cover call on a sinking stock or a stock falling down, less conducive to what you're doing, right? The one thing I'll tell you, and I'll talk about more of this next week. So we all know what a cover call is, right? We all know that now. We've done a few of those. Does that answer your question, Vincent? Yeah, we want to keep it simple for sure. I agree too. Um, so covered call is I buy 100 shares of stock. Okay, let's just do shares. So 100 shares, and I also add the sell of one contract. Okay, one call contract. Call contract. Okay, so 100 shares, and that we'll just make that a buy. Buy 100, sell one call contract, right? Now the equivalent to this, a simpler, in the vein of keeping it simple, you could actually sell a put, and it would be the exact same thing as well. it would act as though you did a covered call. Does everybody see that? I could sell a put and it would be just like, you know, doing the call. You guys see that? Questions? No questions? Everybody understand this then? Sure. So I don't want to get too deep in it now. We'll cover this next week. Okay? But so let's say we buy ABC company, 100 shares. Okay? That's 100 shares, and the price of the stock is $100. Okay? Okay? So I'm going to buy 100 shares of this stock, and I have a call option with a 40 delta, right? 40 delta, and the 40 delta call, right? The 40 that is sold is the 105, okay? And I brought in, $2 from this, okay? Everybody got this, right? So I have ABC stock, $100 a share. I bought 100 shares and I sold the 105 and I brought in $2, okay? Now, so all the scenarios, we look at all those scenarios and we say, okay, well, if it goes up, I make $5 from the stock going up, right? Because if it goes to 105 plus $2, yes? Everybody see that? So I make $7. If it goes sideways and does nothing, I make $2, right? $2. I make 0 from the move because it doesn't move, okay? If it goes down, I can have it go down to, say, $98. And if it goes down to $98, I lose $2 plus the $2 that I brought in gives me $0. Everybody see that? Okay. Now, what if instead of selling stock, sorry, buying the stock and selling the call, I sold the 95, I'll make it simple, 95 put, and I brought in $2. Okay? I brought in $2. Okay? Now, if the stock goes up, I make nothing on the stock movement up, right? I make 0, right? But the stock can go up to or down. It could go down to 95. Actually, it could go down to $93 now, and that's my break even. Where before it was 98. Everybody understand? Because I'm hoping for the same thing, sideways and up. Yes, that's what makes the cover call work. I'm using the same concept, except I'm selling a put. But how are they the same? Well, they're the same. I mean, this is not exactly the same because of the numbers that I used. But they're the same in the sense that you're predicting the same thing. Does that make sense? You're predicting the stock will go sideways to up. That's what you're predicting. You're profiting from that. You're profiting from that. That's what it is. Okay? So to give you another example, okay, I could, so we're going to do the same stock, right, ABC, and let's say, so it's $100 per share. Let's say the call that I sell is at the $100. Okay, it's right at $100, and it's going to pay me $3.50. Okay, $3.50. Okay, now if this is if I bought 100 shares of ABC and I sold 100 call, right? If the stock goes up, the maximum I can make is how much? How much can I make? The maximum I can make is $3.50 because if the stock goes up, it doesn't matter. Right? It doesn't matter because I bought the call at the same as the price. So the most I can make is $3.50. Okay, that's the most I can make if the stock goes up. If the stock goes sideways, I still make $3.50. Okay, if the stock goes down, now I can go to $96.50 is my break even. Right? Everybody see that? Okay. Okay. Or I could just sell the put. 100 put, the 100 strike, and I'd still make $3.50. You see what I'm saying? So what would be the advantage? Because I'm hoping for the same thing. That'd be the same thing, right? Did everybody see that? Does everybody see that these are the same? The same result. If it goes up, I make $3.50, right? If it goes sideways, I make $3.50, right? With this put. You know, and break even is exactly the same. Everybody see that? So what would be the advantage of selling the put versus the stock in the call option? Stock value? What do you mean by stock value? Okay, well, in this case, you can't make any money on the stock, right? Because you're selling the call at the same price as the stock. You see that? So Jean, if we're doing the exact same price, because you got to remember, in the other scenario, we only made $2 instead of $3.50 because we were selling the 105s, right? So because we went right at the money and we sold that one, we made more money. And because you make more money on the call, right? The call when you do the right at the strike, it's because it's more likely that the person's going to make money on that, right? Because it's right at the strike price versus $5 out. The delta is going to be different, right? Because delta is probability, right? So this is what I want you to do this week. I want you to go into your trading platforms, and I want you to try both trades, and I want you to tell me the difference between the two. What differences you see? Okay. Excuse me. That's all I'm going to say. What differences you see? Okay. So what you can do is tonight or tomorrow you can put in the same trade, use the same stock, but put in one where you sell the call and buy the stock, sell the call, and do one where you sell the put, and see the differences between them. And we'll take it up next week. That's what I want you to do. Does that make sense? Everybody clear on the task? Tell me how they're different. See how they're different, or if they are different, or what advantages or disadvantages you see with the different setups. Because technically we're asking for the same thing, right? No, you don't have to buy the stock to sell the put. No, you can just sell the put. So in the case of the put, you're only selling the put. You're not buying the stock or selling the stock. Okay? So we either buy the stock, sell the call, or we sell the put. Does that make sense? Okay, that's your assignment for this week. Next week, Tuesday, 8:30. Remember, Tuesday at 8:30, we'll take up and we'll actually run through it. But I want you to do this because I want you to see what differences you see. Write down all your questions and we'll take it up next week, okay? Okay, any questions? If you're good, type in yes or Y. No worries, no worries. Good, 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 good. All right, so just run the assignment. We'll talk about it next Tuesday. Don't worry if you understand it completely. It doesn't matter. We'll take it up together. But I want you to try it on your own, okay? And see what you come up with. Only practice accounts. Only practice accounts, not real money. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Excellent, excellent to see you all in this new year, 2020. Let's make it our best year ever for investing. I will see you all next Tuesday at 8:30.